I'm supposed to speak on what responsibilities do political leaders have for healing patient Europe. And I think that, first of all, we need to realize that COVID has brought to evidence the real illness of our Europe, that is not COVID. The illness is the lack of internal coherence, the lack of unity, the lack of confidence between the ruling elite and the mass of the people, the lack of brotherhood and of community among ourselves. Now, we all expect to be saved by vaccines. We imagine that this technical means will spare us the efforts to mend the underlying shortcomings. One part of this meeting has been devoted to giving the evidence that this is not the case. It will not happen, and it is already apparent that it will not happen. Many people do not want to be vaccinated. What is the reason? The real reason is that they want to cry out their feeling of being alienated, of not being considered as members of a community. And this is also the reason why many want to sever the link of their country to the European Union, in the illusion of finding in the smaller national community the belonging and togetherness they lack in the globalized world and in the European Union. The great challenge is to recreate, or to recreate better, the bonds of a political community, both within the member states and in the Union, because these bonds have been dramatically weakened, not only in the Union, but also in the member states. We need to channel this content against this Europe into a great movement demanding more Europe. We have to explain that the cause of our discomfort with this Europe is not that we have too much Europe, but rather that we do not have enough Europe. We have started the building and we have stopped before having reached the purpose. We need the Union to take an active role in social policy, harmonizing state legislation, which is possible, but also complementing them, which is not possible on the basis of the existing treaties. The Union should take the initiative to guarantee to all Europeans a minimum income sufficient to cover basic human needs and fundamental civic rights. These who are able to work should also receive a trustworthy orientation on the perspectives of the labor market and an adequate vocational training. The poor workers should receive a minimum wage supported, if need be, through public allowances. This is the first step that could bring again in contact with one another the masses of those who feel alienated and disinherited with this idea of Europe, with the Union. We need new treatises. To do this, we need a revision of the treatises. We need the Union to take an active role in creating an area of common prosperity in our immediate neighborhood, and especially in Africa. We need to contrast the desertification of vast areas south of the Sahara, to bring peace in the dramatic conflicts in the Middle East and in Africa, to create their conditions for economic and human development. We shall never control the flood of illegal migrations if we do not give to the people the right not to migrate, because they can find jobs at home. We need, moreover, to create channels of legal migrations, accompanying them with adequate measures of social integration and of intercultural and interreligious dialogue. We need a common cooperation policy, a common foreign policy, and a common defense policy. Pope Francis urges Europe to become a cultural community, united by the bond of solidarity. Solidarity means to look at the world from the point of view of the poor, giving priority to the preoccupation that nobody in Europe to begin with, we have more ambitious programs, but there is not the place for them, with the preoccupation that nobody in Europe starve or lack shelter or clothing or education or a chance to better his life. Men do not live of bread alone. Men live of solidarity. Solidarity produces also bread.
Thank you.